Hello everyone, my name is Jayme Ross Eva and welcome to my Disney College Program series. Today I'm going to be talking about my thoughts about the Disney College Program in a review. So before I get into my actual review, I'm going to ask you a couple questions. Is Disney for you? Do you love helping people? Are you a patient person? Do you know a lot about Disney and its history? Are you a team player? Do you love working with kids? Are you ready for a life-changing experience? If you've answered yes to most of these questions, then Disney is most likely for you. And the key word is most likely. Let me tell you this. I know a lot of people that I knew during my Disney College Program experience, or at least cast members that I became friends with during my time there at Disney. Some were huge Disney fans. However, some of them had a very hard time controlling their temper, or they had a difficult time handling angry guest experience in a very fast-paced environment. And those are the type of situations that you had to think of, and if you're prepared to handle those kind of environments. If Disney is the right fit for you, think about those questions and see, are you prepared to take that next step in handling that kind of fast-paced environment where you have to deal with an angry guest. First off, I'm going to be talking about the classes that I took. I took Blended Learning Series and Leadership Speaker Series. So if you're like me, someone who graduated and just wanted to participate in the Disney College Program for the experience, to have Disney on your resume, and to also expand your horizons and possibly have a career at Disney, then these two classes are probably really perfect for you, especially if you're coming into Anaheim. I know that the Orlando Disney College Program has more selections as far as classes to take, but if you're watching this video and if you're applying to Anaheim and you don't want to spend a lot of money, you don't want to have a lot of homework and a lot of tasks to do, these two classes are very stress-free, and you have a lot to learn from these two classes. You know, in my experience, every time I remembered I had a class, I was always telling my fellow classmates who were working with me at the time, it was like, oh yeah, we have a class today, huh? And it was like that after the third, fourth week of working and having class, because you honestly tend to get caught up with work. You might forget that you have a class in the morning, especially if you're like me and someone who graduated and don't have that mindset of being in school anymore. You will forget that you have a class, and that tends to happen, especially when it's 8 o'clock in the morning when you have to be at class. It's very difficult to wake up. I am a morning person, but it was difficult for me to wake up because most of our hours as college program participants, most of our hours are during the evenings or during at night. For when it comes to scheduling, especially, a lot of my shifts ended at 2:30 in the morning, and then at 8 o'clock I would have to get up and go to class. So, but based on who your instructor is for the college program, they might give you 1 or 2 absences that won't hurt your grade. However, after that, there's no excuses. So make sure that if you aren't a morning person and you don't like getting up in the morning, make sure that you do remember to go to class, because if you miss a certain amount of classes, you will get taken out of the class and you might be taken out of the Disney College Program. So keep that in mind. So you know that saying about making the most out of your opportunities? Well, to some cast members, these classes were just a barrier and something that was completely out of their way because they just wanted to work, or they didn't want to get up from working late last night. And some people in the class just didn't enjoy it. They didn't want to be there, but they had to be there because they didn't want to lose their college program experience. However, others in the class took advantage of the opportunities when it came to the leadership speakers class, because they wanted to ask a lot of questions, especially if the person who came in to talk was within their field of where they wanted to end up in their career. So for the leadership speakers class, there's a lot of opportunities. They have a variety of speakers that come in. So there's a good chance that whatever field that you're looking to pursue, they might have a leader who's going to come in to talk about how they got to where they got to within Disney. So Say if you're into business marketing, or if you're looking to get into management, or even if you're into engineering, there might be a possibility that Walt Disney Imagineering comes in, special events comes in about through management, and it's always important to take advantage of those opportunities and networking and asking those questions and being prepared to ask those questions. So with blended learning, I'm gonna be honest with you. Some of the classes were really boring because for around 3 or 4 sessions we were talking about resume building and getting to and working on your networking skills. And I don't mean to sound like arrogant or boastful, but I've worked on my resume before. I have had it looked over at career services at my university, so I didn't really need to build up on my resume, especially when I've been applying to jobs prior to the Disney College program and looking for actual engineering jobs. So it was really boring for me. And I remember there was a session on how to build up your LinkedIn profile. I remember building that up when I was a senior in college, because we were told that it was very important to build up your LinkedIn profile. During those few sessions, I was really bored because I already built up my LinkedIn profile and I already had a resume set. But then again, some classes were really interesting because the Disneyland ambassadors were able to come in and speak on behalf of the president of the Disneyland Resort. And the thing is, how often do you really get to meet the Disneyland ambassadors? It was a very awesome opportunity to meet them and speak to them on a personal level. As for the leadership speaker series, majority of the speakers were really fun and interesting. They all had their different style on how to present themselves and how to share their story on how they got to where they are within Disney. So it really depended on how they approached them and their presentation, their speech. Some speakers used a basic PowerPoint and they just read off their slides as if they were making a high school presentation. And yeah, that was boring, but it was all just on how they presented themselves and how they on how interesting their story was. So you get that from the leadership speaker series. As far as just taking classes for the Disney College program, depending on what institute you are attending, only some classes count as college credit. Since I graduated, I didn't care about college credit. I was done. That's why I took blended learning and leadership speakers, because I didn't need that college credit. I remember from talking with some of my friends, corporate analysis counted as a college credit, so if you're interested in looking to get into business, corporate analysis can count as college credit. I do not recall any of the other classes. I only took the classes that were free because I didn't need to pay for any. I didn't want to pay for anything more than I needed to. I mean, I'm already in $40,000 in debt from loans at USD, so I didn't need to add to that. If you're thinking of participating in the Disney College program in Anaheim, I can't speak for the CPs in Orlando because I know that they have a better variety of classes and I don't have that experience. So if you're looking to get into the Orlando Disney College program, you'd probably be better looking up a former cast member who worked in Orlando and took classes over there and took different classes rather than blended learning and leadership speakers. But if you're looking to not paying a lot of money, you don't have to buy textbooks, there's not a lot of homework, it's very stress-free, relaxed, blended learning and leadership speakers are the way to go. So for my program, I was assigned to be in store operations. So if you're interested in store operations, then feel free to continue on with this video, or else you might want to skip over to creating my on how I created magical moments, which is you can click right here to skip. Okay, so working in store operations, I loved it. I loved working at World of Disney out of all the stores. I'm kind of glad that I didn't get assigned into the parks because I can imagine how boring it can be and how slow it was. I love after working at World of Disney and working a lot of night shifts, I realized that I loved working in a fast-paced environment. I remember I tried working at Elias & Company in Disney California Adventure, and it was just too slow for me. There weren't a lot of guests walking around because they were just too busy having fun playing in the park. So I remember I had a 6-hour shift at Elias & Company and I felt like I was dying. I remember walking in circles for 100 times around the door because I was assigned as a door greeter in the men's section at Alliance & Company, and I was bored out of my mind. I was bored. And the stupid thing is that, like, some of the managers at Alliance & Company, they know that the store is slow, especially during the day. And we get criticized for not doing anything. The store is clean. There's no one around. There was no one in the store, and we still get criticized. What are we supposed to do? There's nothing to clean. There's no one to greet. There's no one to guest service. What else are we supposed to do? We get in trouble for talking, but there's no one in the store. And speaking on behalf of the cast members from World of Disney in Disneyland Anaheim, a lot of cast members coming from the parks absolutely hate World of Disney. So I remember when I worked at Alliance & Company and I mentioned to them that I came from, that World of Disney was my home, they always responded with this or they chuckled because they felt bad for me. And I remember them asking why I liked it there, and I told them, hey, I get a lot of guests. I have the opportunity to make a lot of magical moments because of that fast-paced environment. I don't get bored. I don't have to walk around 50 times in one area because there's always something to do, and I loved it. And they didn't care what I had to say. I'll never forget my World of Disney family. I'm pretty sure if you're assigned to a different store, if you're in attractions, if you're in custodial, if you're in entertainment, or whatever department that you are assigned to, you're gonna have that family bond within your training crew, within the people that you're gonna be working with for the next 6 months. So that family bonding at your location is very important, and it's something that you'll never forget. I always keep in touch with my WOD training crew from every now and then because I want to know what they're up to. I'm really curious on if they were able to, if they're still staying at Disney, or if they're pursuing another career at another company, or if they went back to school. So it's very important to keep in touch with your home location and who you worked with, because if you decide not to stay with the company, hey, they might offer you the chance to come into the park for free if they're still working there. So there's always that benefit. And in every location, there's the nicest person, there's the most hated person, there's the most dedicated person that you look up to and you want to achieve to, and there's the most chilled person in in whatever location that you're gonna be assigned to. So there's always gonna be someone that you're not gonna like, trust me, and you're gonna have to learn from that. And there's always that person that you're not very fond of, but you're gonna have to accept it because they're your cast members. And in the end, they're human and they're your family in that location. So you're gonna have to accept that. For the most part, everyone that I got to know at World of Disney was very awesome. They were very chill, they were sweet, they were cool, and it was an honor getting to work with them and getting to know every one of them, especially during break times. And it's crazy how much 15 minutes in the break room and with 8-hour shifts and just passing by your cast members in the hallway can really add up, and by the end of your program you're gonna get to know your cast members a lot more than you would have guessed. So I'm not the kind of guy that clings to a certain crowd. I got to know a lot of my cast members very evenly, and I pushed myself to get to know everyone that I interacted with, whether it was front of house or back of house. And it's crazy because on my last day, I decided to buy an autograph book, and I got an autograph for everyone that I knew. And it's crazy when I looked back at my autograph book on how many people I got to know, and I never thought that I would get to know that many people and they would get to know me on a personal level. So I still remember how I met every single person that autographed my book. So that's an awesome moment. If you plan on not coming back to the college to Disney, having an autograph book, getting in contact with your fellow cast members, it's a very awesome moment. I recommend getting an autograph book and just doing the same thing. I'm not taking credit for that because I'm pretty sure a lot of people before me have done it, and I would recommend the same.